going to return to our roots just a little bit, and we're going to play a choose your own adventure. Choice of robots, same people who made Mecha Ace, and same people who made Hero of Kendrickstone. We're going to go through. I've done it a couple of times, but that was years ago, so we're playing fresh. So, let's get the mic set up here perfectly. And away we go. Choice of Robots by Kevin Gold, PhD. So, Dr. Kevin, what does Dr. Gold have in store for us? Where are you? In the court of the Egyptian god? Nah. War-torn battlefield? Sounds good. Robotic Statue of Liberty? Not so much. Irish cliff? Utopian beach. You know what? We're with our robotic companion. Sitting on a seaside cliff in Ireland, watching the sunset, is the robot companion you always wanted. She proposed to me at this very spot. Sure. Indeed, and you said yes. You had to move to Europe to find a country willing to legally marry you, but you don't regret a thing. She is clothed in a loose-fitting red tunic, and her face is a beautiful sculpture. You sit down beside her to watch the sun set together. I hope I didn't keep you waiting, you say. Actually, I'm still waiting, she says with a slight smile. For you to build me. What? Shit. We're already in it. Okay, here we go. I can do that, you say? She looks sad for a moment. Yes, but it will take a lot out of you. She puts her hand in yours. But I promise that if you give your humanity to me, then I will give it back one day. I don't understand, you say. Just remember that no great thing happens without sacrifice. And I'm sorry. So I'm going to assume his name is not Epictetus. Epictetus? Some things are in our control and others not. Chapter 1 Assembly. You awaken with your head on a desktop keyboard. Your 3D drafting program is still open. The schematics zoomed in to the recess where your smartphone will snap into the back to act as its brain. You recall fiddling with that part endlessly last night, until finally your vision began to fade. There was a roaring in your ears, and you suddenly realized you had been working for far, far too long. You must have passed out. It's the fall of 2019. There's no such thing as COVID. You're a 24-year-old graduate student in the PhD program in computer science at Stanford. We always play as a girl. Let's play as a girl. Whose name is, here, I'll type it for you. It's obviously Lily after Soliloquy. Yep. Last name is... Some of these are great. So, Tesla and Goldberg are hilarious. The exclamation point as a click is fucking phenomenal. Let's go with the Japanese, I guess. Tezuka. You look around your apartment. What does it look like? BattleBots trophy. Sounds good. Plastic shelving units. Not so much. Busts of famous philosophers. Creepy. Yeah. We're going with the BattleBots and the widescreen TV. Yes, you're a competitive person by nature, and you grew interested in artificial intelligence by coding AI for games. When your high school fielded a team of the local BattleBots for the local BattleBots competition, sponsored by the nearby defense contractor, you eagerly took up the challenge and won with an aggressive bot that would ram the enemy bot while it was trying to figure out where it still was. You continue to compete at the college level. I need to quickly... Let's see if we can... There we go. No, let's bump it up more. There we go. I think that'll work for recording purposes. I'm just looking over at my screen here, and I think it looks a little awkward, but... It strikes you for a moment that this kind of thinking about how your life affects... What? It strikes you for a moment that this kind of thinking about how your life affects your robots is second nature to you, though others might find it peculiar. You've always been fascinated by how every little detail of your life, from the content of your dreams to the decor of your room, changes the input to the robots you create, boosts their empathy, their autonomy, grace, or even their appeal to the military. Surely, there are other things going on around you as a result of your decisions, but they don't immediately strike you in the same way. Today, your robot is foremost on your mind because you're about to build its body. You pick up your laptop and head for the Stanford Machine Shop. It is a beautiful spring day in Palo Alto, California, and your apartment is only a short walk from the machine shop. But the streets of Palo Alto are not designed for walking. You find yourself climbing around palm trees and balancing on narrow curbs, as you do every day. You hear a low roar overhead. Glancing up, you see it's a flying car, a Nimbus. Oh, Goku is riding a cloud, eh? A little over $300,000 can buy you a car with wings that fold out so that it becomes a small sport plane. That seems wildly impractical. The gold Nimbus looks sleek and sporty. It's the sort of car that its owner takes religiously to the car wash. Though the commercials would have you believe you can fly anywhere you want in those cars, the FAA still requires them to take off and land from airports. What kind of worthless fucking flying cars? So I'm at home. I want to go to work. I can't fly there. I have to drive. What kind of useless shit piece of... Fuck the FFA. Only here in the wealthy Silicon Valley do you see them with any frequency. The first time you saw one, you couldn't quite believe that the future had arrived so quickly. To be fair, I guess flying cars in 2019 is future arriving quickly. But the second time you saw one, you thought, why aren't those flying cars driving themselves? Yeah, obviously. Occasionally, you see a self-driving car on the roads of Palo Alto. But for some reason, they still haven't quite caught on as much as one would expect, despite having been around at least as long as the flying cars. You've decided that it's because people don't trust self-driving cars enough. It's important to make robots seem trustworthy. Intelligence alone doesn't instill trust. I disagree with that. It is because of the intelligence that they're trustworthy. You trust the computer to do... You trust your calculator on your phone to do the math. 1 + 7 equals... it says 8. It's because of the intelligence of the computer. It's not because it's empathetic. Whatever. The fabrication shop smells like oil and burnt plastic. The room is dominated by large metal, hand-cranked milling machines and lathes, dinosaurs of the 20th century, while the most used machines are the smaller 3D printers and computer-controlled water jet cutters that take a quarter of the space. The lights have a sterile fluorescence of an operating room, with only a single tiny window near the ceiling to inform you of the time of day. Inform you that it is day, I guess. You start up a national public radio podcast on your... No, I don't. You start up a Joe Rogan podcast on your laptop. Sure, maybe. I've never listened to one, but that seems more topical in 2019. You haven't seen your advisor much since you joined the lab, so you chose the episode in which he's the interviewee. Oh, shit. Well, he might show up on Joe Rogan. Who the hell knows? I'm trying desperately not to try and do a Joe Rogan voice. My guest today is Dr. Harvey Ziegler, a woman says with a... A woman says with a soothing voice. Dr. Ziegler, thank you very much for talking with us today. Well, a scientist does have some responsibility to inform the unwashed masses, Terry. What kind of pretentious piece of shit. You let the podcast run as you walk over to the 3D printers. What material have you decided to use for your robot? Gundanium, obviously. You walk over to the computer-controlled water jet cutter, where a helpful pictogram shows the jet of abrasive-filled water slicing a hand in two. Yeah, those things, I've seen them in machine shops. They're terrifying. Dr. Ziegler, in your new book, you talk about the singularity. Could you describe for our listeners what that is? Okay, I guess Terry's I just automatically associate the name Terry with Batman Beyond. Terry, the singularity is the coming time when artificial intelligence will have figured out how to make themselves, and us, smarter. Once that happens, the process will build upon itself until the robots are smart enough to figure out how we can live forever. Is that possible? The interviewer asks. Living forever? Of course, Professor Ziegler says. What does it matter whether our operating systems are made out of meat or silicon? So you're predicting we'll become robots? Not exactly, Ziegler says, but I do think the line between human and robots will blur. You were hardly listening to the podcast because you're just about to make your first robot part. What does the head of your robot look like? Like a puppet? No. We're making it a human face as lifelike as we can make it. As the water jet cutter cuts the robot's face, you think it is turning out well. You've successfully leapt the uncanny valley that makes humanoid robots seem eerie, and instead have achieved a beautiful serenity. Dr. Ziegler, what makes you think the singularity will happen now? Well, for one thing, I'm around. How pretentious. But you know what? I really hate Ziegler. Fuck yourself, Ziegler. But seriously, my lab is taking a unique approach because we're saying, why not teach a robot like a child? We're going to equip the robot with the best sensors money can buy and teach it English. Racist. Then you could teach it English because it already knows Mandarin, because it was built in China, probably by better robot technicians than Stanford. Then it could rapidly teach itself using the internet. Well, that's annoying. Your advisor thought that a robot child was a stupid idea until you told him Turing proposed it back in 1950s, minus the internet part. But he isn't giving credit to either of you. What a fucking prick. You keep working regardless. How will your robot get around? Delicate wings is kind of cool. But we're going to go walk on 2 legs. When the water jet cutter is done with the head, you start the program that produces the torso and cue up the upper and lower legs. You think being bipedal, I guess, will help your robot get along with humans, although it makes it easier for your robot to trip and fall. You use the basic hand-cranked milling machines to drill holes in the head for screws, since water jet cutters aren't the best for threaded holes. Interesting. Okay. I see where it's going with this. And who is going to raise this robotic child? The interview asks. Who does all the grunt work in a research laboratory? Professor Ziegler says. The graduate students, of course. You find yourself wanting to reply to the podcast. Yeah, I think Ziegler's a piece of shit. Whoops. I doubt it, but I would join you if I had the time, says Professor Ziegler, who appears to have entered the machine shop behind you when you weren't looking. Perhaps it surprises you, but I do miss building robots myself instead of chasing after funding. Okay, so I'm confused. I thought we were wearing headphones or something, listening. I didn't think we were we're not one of those assholes who plays their music out loud on their phone or on a speaker in the middle of a lab, and everybody then has to listen to it, right? Yikes. We might be an asshole. Professor Ziegler is a heavy-set man wearing a Hawaiian shirt. Oh my gosh. A Hawaiian shirt and aviator sunglasses. He stalks over to your computer. We'll be back in a moment, continues the interviewer. We're talking with Professor... Ziegler pauses the podcast by hitting your laptop's spacebar, and you flinch at this intrusion. He then pulls a cigar out of his pocket and lights it, and the smell of smoke mingles with the oily smell of the machine shop. I'm writing a grant for DARPA, and I need to see what you're making back here. We ultimately get funded by the Department of Defense, so we have to make sure they're happy with our product. He casts a critical eye on the work you've done so far. Metal's a good choice, Ziegler says. They'll want to appear durable in the field. Professor Ziegler turns to examining the robot's head, which is currently sitting on the table next to the water jet cutter. That seems alright, Ziegler says. Looks like it could be made sufficiently intimidating. What are you planning for the arms and the hands? Ziegler says. All of these are great answers. I love the T-Rex arms is hilarious. Let's build a robot that... It's got the most lifelike head, walks on 2 feet, and then has these stubby little arms. A Mega Man gun would be just amazing just because it's a Mega Man gun. And also the bottom one. Inspector Gadget. Go, Gadget. Fuck yourself. Soft hands, good sense of touch. Touchy-feely robots are not quite as easy to sell it to DARPA, Ziegler says with a frown. Yeah, well, Ziegler, you can go fuck yourself. I want my robot to get along with people, you say? One of the curses of trying to read for indefinite lengths of time while eating salty pumpkin seeds. I want my robot to get along with people, you say? That's a universally useful goal, regardless of who's funding it. Fine, Ziegler says, waving away any further explanation. Carry on, then. He turns to leave. I've got to take a call from a New York Times reporter. Funny how journalists all copy each other's story, but each garble the message in a unique way. He makes it to the door, then turns and says, oh, one more thing. Do you think your robot can be ready by tomorrow? Someone from the Air Force will be in town, and I told her your robot might be ready to show off by then. You feel your phone vibrating in your pocket. Bad timing. You resist the urge to check it while talking to your advisor, but it's probably someone with a better offer for what to do tonight. Yeah, let's disappoint the DoD. Fuck it. Ziegler nods appreciatively. What will be a little bit nice to our advisor, just for the time being. We're using his tools, I guess. Excellent. Good attitude. We'll make a professor out of you yet. Oh, abso-fucking-lutely not. I'll tell Captain Rogers. Oh, we're meeting Captain America? To meet you here tomorrow. It's a nice controlled environment, pretty consistent light levels. I think not too much can go wrong. Yes, sir. Professor... Sounds like somebody's doing some heavy lifting at 12:30 at night. Professor Ziegler turns and walks out of the machine shop. You find yourself unclenching your hands. Who was calling you while Professor Ziegler was talking to you? Ellie Lau, a user experience designer and a supportive friend. Could be her. Eiji Eromame, a manga artist and generally good guy. Josh Anderson, founder of a startup US robot. Nope, Ellie called us. User experience designer sounds good. From the missed call, your phone is displaying Ellie's profile picture. It's a picture of Josh and... Oh, Josh, the startup. Okay. It's a picture of Josh and Ellie from the freshman welcome week dance 7 years ago. What? Okay, so we're not... Okay. The math was confusing me for a second there, because 7 years ago, we're 24. That would make us 17. I guess that's not too young to get into college. It's just a little bit early. I was like, well, okay, 18 plus 7, that's 25 at the minimum. But either way. Ellie is wearing a red Chinese dress with gold trim. Her long, straight black hair falling down to the epaulets. The flash is too bright in the picture, making Ellie's pale skin look washed out. Josh is wearing his usual gray hoodie, not having bothered to dress up for the dance, and his arm is around Ellie. What's the story? I was in love with Josh's friend Ellie, but my studies came first. Yikes. I was in love with Josh. Nope. I had agreed to be Josh's wing person, and that's where he met Ellie. Nope. I was testing music recognition algorithm in the tube. No. Yeah, we liked Ellie. Yes, you pined after Ellie in college, but you knew you would not have the time to pursue romance. Not while you were taking 5 classes. Oh, 5 classes. Some of them graduate work. That photo is from one of the dances during freshman orientation, before you had homework. You never went to another one. Wow, we're an introvert. What a... Yikes. We're going to build a robot to solve our introversion problems? That's not me at all. You continue to hope that someday your perseverance and dedication will pay off, but a little part of you still longs for Ellie. It's a part you fear, and even though she's working just an hour away in San Fran, you haven't seen her much recently. You notice that Ellie also left you a text. She wants to meet for dinner at a jazz and sushi place in San Fran, which is about an hour north of you. A jazz and sushi place. What the fuck, 2019? What is wrong with you? She also has tickets to a rendition of the musical Pippin, in which most of the characters are robots. Sounds like a date. It's a little terrifying. Well, we got to make our decision. I'm pondering this back and forth because there's 3 things that I'm weighing right now. If we go on the date tonight, our robot is not going to be ready for tomorrow, for the show off with Steve Rogers, right? Captain Rogers. If we focus on the robot, we're not going to have it as refined. And if we focus on the robot, Ellie won't have any sense of relationship with us. So, are we concerned at all about Ellie? Fuck her. Nope, can't do it. Too bad, Ellie texts back. Maybe next time. You spend the rest of the day drilling holes, polishing surfaces, cutting parts, and screwing things together. Yeah, no, we wanted to focus on our robot, so let's focus on our robot. When you are done, the robot's body stands before you. A metal bipedal robot. Say that 5 times fast. With a human-like head and humanoid hands. The whole thing is about 3 feet tall? No, it's... Some of these names are pretty good. So Pickle and Curry are great. Miku is what we're going with. Kill All is a really good name. And Gardaloo, I don't know what it is about Gardaloo, but I like Gardaloo. You name your robot after Hatsune Miku, a Japanese artificial character celebrity. 100%. Domino's once released an app in Japan in which a virtual Miku would dance on top of your pizza box. If that isn't if that isn't worthy of homage, you don't know what is. Cheers to that. Now that Miku has a body, it might be time to treat Miku more like a person. Miku would be feminine. Also, Rhi, Rur, and Hrim. I appreciate the effort, but not so much. Encouraging people to think of Miku as human-like, as opposed to object-like, should help to get her along with people. I don't like the 3-foot-tall thing. You look on Miku's 3-foot-tall bipedal body with satisfaction. Now all she needs are motors and a mind. The motors will have to wait till tomorrow. But you've spent years in graduate school writing the code that would form the robot's mind, and you can hardly wait to try it out. You head back to your apartment, where you spend several hours working on the final touches to Miku's natural language processing code. What language do you code in? That's a great question. If you haven't seen it yet, you need to look up the video. Sebastian, instead of him singing Under the Sea, he's singing Program in C. Program in C. So C++, speed. That's not what we're concerned with. Python has the best tools for understanding. Meh. Go, the most beautiful language. Yeah, I like that. Java, everybody uses Java. No, we're going Go with Go. Programs written in Go tend to be incredibly short and expressive, almost like Zen koans in their brevity and power. You believe there is beauty in simplicity. In code, less is more. You also enjoy using the commands that give language its name, as you can imagine saying to your robots one day, go think, go create, go live. With the code done, you then briefly add just enough motors to allow Miku to explore your room. It's a quick job. You'll do more than a more thorough one tomorrow. Your smartphone won't have much power for the motors anyway. Finally, you upload the code to your smartphone and plug it into Miku's back. You touch the icon labeled Miku, and a big red button fills the screen. Your finger hovers the button. You probably want the first word Miku learns to be significant somehow. What is the first thing Miku will see when you power her on? The mirror I like. Out the window is kind of not a bad second choice, but I like looking at me. Kind of the whole bonding parent thing. You activate Miku facing you. She looks into your eyes. You've heard that many animals imprint on the first living thing they see, usually their mother. Yeah, the imprint, that's what I was talking about. And that they usually love this, being instinctually. You're trying to create this experience for Miku as well. As Miku looks into your eyes, you call yourself, well, we'll call herself by her name. Sensei is cool. Master implies robotic, I own you. Mother is just weird. Ma'am, I get that if that's like a subservient, the maid robot thing. You think being on a first name basis with Miku will help you get along. Lily, you say. Lily, Miku repeats. The 3 feet tall thing really bugs me. That's too short. You then pick up Miku and put her down in the center of the room to allow her to explore at will. But at first, she simply seems overwhelmed by the possibilities. You decide to call this state curiosity. Curiosity, Miku repeats. She walks up to your closet and peeks inside. It's something of a mess in there, and she quickly gets her bipedal moving parts caught in your clothing. You pick up Miku in your hands. She wiggles nervously. I got you, you say. You got me. She continues to wriggle. Stop. Your robot becomes still in your hands. You decide to teach her that the word for this state is... trust. Trust, for sure. Helplessness, no. Weakness, no. Peace. Peace is not bad, but... I'm debating peace now. No, we're going with trust. No, shit. Plus military. Wrong. Trust, Miku repeats back as you set her on the ground. You have taught her to have a little faith when it comes to that when a human does something she doesn't understand, things will turn out well. By now, it is near midnight, and you have another busy day ahead of improving Miku. You get ready for bed, leaving Miku plugged into the wall with your cell phone charger. Stay there, you tell her. Miku obediently stays very still. So still, while you are drifting off to sleep, you glance down at Miku just to make sure her code didn't crash. But she is still there, looking up at you adoringly, and you think that she will probably remain like this all night. It's ever so slightly creepy. But that is where we call it apart. Chapter 2, Machine Learning. When we come back, next time. Later.